Well, we've got Pepper Gomez here, and we were just having a laugh, really, because somebody had scheduled this interview to be in the morning when she was asleep. But we're here at a Friday afternoon, and it's great to have you here finally.
Thank you so much. And a big hello and lots of love to all my UKers. I've been there a few times.
Yeah.
Everyone's so wonderful. And one thing I have to say about you all is that, well, you were the trailblazers for music, really.
Oh,
so
thank you.
yeah, for real, ever since I was a kid. And what I continue to see is that you guys continue to be trailblazers and very open to new music, which of course we need because music has to keep evolving. And it's just absolutely really lovely.
Yes. Well, you've done some music yourself, of course, including the new song, which you've done with Andrew Kitchen. Nice second name. And the song is called My Heart Plays for You. So how would you describe that song?
Well, that song has a really pretty interesting evolution.
Yeah.
If you allow arts to kind of take their path, it can be very surprising, as I know you know, what can end up happening. So Andrew sent me this track, and my genre is house. I was singing house back in the original days of house back in the 80s, long before you were born. And was part of the birth of house. So that's kind of what I'm more accustomed to, is like house, dance music, that type of feel.
Yeah.
So Andrew sends me this track. He's been my friend. He wears many hats. He's really a Renaissance man. Yeah. But he sends me this track, and it's like popish. And I'm like, let me see what I can conjure up for this tune, because he only sent me the musical parts, and then he was expecting me to put together the vocal lyrical parts. And the first couple times I heard it, I have to say, I was like, I don't know, nothing's coming. Because normally I'm a vocalist. If you play a track for me, I'll hog up every second of it with vocals. Wow. So about maybe like a week later, I played it again, and the whole tune came out. And it's really just a very sweet love song pop tune. It's about that. You can probably relate perfectly, but you know, that young love where everything is about the love. Nothing is better. Just love me. I adore you. If you look at the video, you'll see this cute little couple going on this romantic picnic out in the woods with champagne and delicious fruit. And it's like, oh God, I want to go on that picnic. So, so Andrew ended up quite happy with the track.
Yeah.
From there, I asked my friend, and you guys love Ralphie Rosario in the UK. He's one of our top DJs for decades over in the United States. So I was like, hey, Ralphie, would you do a remix for me on this track? And he said, yeah, okay. And he said, what can I do with it? I'm like, make it your own, because I believe that artists should be able to express what they want to express. Yeah. So he sends it back to me, and it is a whole new tune. Wow. And I'm like, and it's in the house vein, by the way. So he turns the pop track into a house type of genre track. And I'm like, man, I absolutely love this. And I asked my son, Tack Boy, who I believe you've spoken with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's your son.
Yes, that's my baby, my youngest.
That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. And he really enjoyed talking with you. And it's just, you know, he and his brother as the ET boys are just launching, but they're off to a good launch. So I asked Tack Boy, I'm like, hey, would you like to sing on this? Because I'd love to have you on a track with me before we launch the ET boys. And he did. And everyone has really loved what he did on that track. And subsequent to that, we have been releasing a couple couple of tracks for the ET Boys. In fact, one came out today. It's called Nowhere.
Ooh.
It is another beautiful ET Boys sounding track that's definitely spicy. Tack Boy said it was his fantasy about being a rock star while he was stuck in college. So that'll give you a little bit of a hint of the vibe of the song. But yeah, working with Andrew has been really, really special. I have to say, the other thing that I have enjoyed about doing My Heart Plays for You are the comments that we've gotten, like on the YouTubes or from people who have listened to them. Yeah. It's a song that you could play even for a little kid with no problem. It's just a happy love song. And, you know, maybe the world needs more of that.
Definitely, especially after these last couple years.
I know. It's been rough. It's been rough on the arts.
Yeah.
I think it's basically been rough on everyone. And, you know, I makes me wonder when I'll get to visit the UK again, because everything has changed so drastically. But hopefully music can continue to unite us across the waters, and that part makes me happy, because I do know that when people are struggling, or even 5 years ago when I was going through it, it felt like every single thing in my life was going badly. Yeah. At that time, what pulled me through was playing music and all the tunes that were either expressing how I was feeling or were just making me feel happy, because that's the power of music, truly.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe Andrew Kitchen wears many hats literally as well.
Yes. Oh, yes, he does. He is a promo guy extraordinaire. Yeah. His dance TV show is coming out. Ooh. He's written music. He's also a very interesting individual. And me personally, I believe that whenever we can, we should give back. And he is someone who lives that. Yeah. Every Christmas, he hops on the L/Subway in Chicago and gives away gift cards to strangers to literally make their Christmas. Wow. So he is a very admirable, hardworking individual, and I'm just pleased to know him, honestly, and very honored that out of all the people that, you know, he could ask to do his track, sing on it, write for him, he picked me, and then he liked it. So that was extra awesome.
And how is it to feature on somebody else's track? Because I guess normally when you do a song on your own, you're getting all the fame, but you have to share it with somebody when you're doing this song, don't you?
I think you would have to be correct on that. That doesn't bother me at all, because my commitment has always been for the music. And, you know, if people listen to it, that makes me happy. I never had any fame and fortune really on my, I guess, action plan, or in fact, I don't really plan. People are like, what are your goals? And it's like, well, I don't really plan goals. I just do stuff, and then stuff happens, you know? So I have a little bit of a different approach to it. I think that in some ways, I might be a little bit better known as a vocalist than he may be known for some of his tracks. So it was a good synergy, because he shined some light on me and I shined some light on him. And I think together we're always stronger, no matter what we're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose that is the perfect way to do it, because a lot of the time, success doesn't really come to those who are looking for it.
Well, from your mouth to God's ear, as they say.
Yeah.
Music is a very funny thing nowadays, because I was just talking with a friend, and they're like, there are 40,000 uploads a day to Spotify. Yeah. And I was like, holy tamale, that's a lot of uploads. Yeah. So to get on the radar right there is a massive, you know, it's a feather in your cap, because we're talking about getting on the radar out of 40,000 in a day, tracks being being uploaded.
Yeah.
But I think it also is a very exciting time because you can get your music out worldwide. And I believe that good music, people will listen to it.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. I guess it's just really hard for a lot of people to get discovered these days when you have that many being uploaded into the abyss.
Exactly. And then, who's going to sift through 40,000 tracks in a day? It's like you're kind of counting on your friends, reviews, people like yourself. Thank God for you.
You're welcome.
Bringing the new sound. Oh, thank you for bringing the new sounds to the people. Because I also find that sometimes, people get trapped into it's not really a trap, but they're in their comfort zone with their old playlists and their old music.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good, but you have to realize even science has shown that listening to new music is good for you. It keeps you young. It sparks all those neurochemicals in your brain that can make you happy and excited and energized. So there's something to the new music. And of course, that's the way that music will continue to evolve. If not, like many genres, if they don't evolve, they kind of fade out and then you don't hear much about them. I like to keep the genres alive by having the young artists or the new artists doing that genre continue to do what they love.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose maybe the element of listening to new songs being good for you is because it puts you in a mindset of looking forward rather than looking back.
Right. That's a very good point. I never thought about it that way, but I totally would agree that is a piece of it. And I think sometimes we just have to get out of our comfort zone too and realize, oh my God, it's comfortable over there. But what you're saying also ties in, I believe, to that this is what makes it the hardest thing to do. It's because if you're working with new sounds, new melodies, and one thing for sure, if you listen to anything that I've done or anything that Andrew and I have done, you will say, oh, it doesn't sound like anything else. And the ear is interesting because it does get accustomed to the sounds that it is used to. So sometimes people have to listen to new music a couple of times and then they're like, whoa, that is really, really good. But the first time the ear wasn't used to it. So that becomes its own little hurdle, is to get it out there so that people can hear it and hear it a few times. And then I'm pretty sure, at least with the tracks we're putting out, they're gonna like it. It's going to add to their life like music does.
Yeah, definitely. And the song was 3 years in the making. At what point were you brought in? Were you there from the start or not?
No, thank God. 3 years is a long time. I do not believe I've ever worked on a track that long, but I have worked on other people's projects. A project that I recently put out with Ralphie Rosario and Craig J. Snyder as the Shamanic. That was 10 years in the making. Wow. So I think I was just called in after all the instrumental tracks were put together, because that whole side of putting the music together was all Andrew's brainchild, all Andrew's baby, and I'm glad. My vocals went a lot faster and smoother.
Yeah, definitely. If you had worked on a song for 3 years, then you'd be very tired.
One thing for sure, you know your song really well, note for note.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, have you got any more projects coming up yourself in the not too distant future?
Well, actually, I just had an interesting project come out that it was my own project that was from the 80s with a house producer by the name of Peter Black. who has passed. So he unfortunately is not going to get to hear this. It was the first track I worked on alone. It's called I Want to Dance With You, and it's under my name, Pepper Gomez, of course. And that just came out. It was a track I literally resurrected from the dead, because when I was working on the track and I finished it, and of course I paid for it, well, apparently the studio was having some issues with Peter, and they had some allegations that he owed them money. And instead of working out something favorably for both sides, what they decided to do was to destroy all his masters. Yeah. Now, personally, myself, I think that should be a criminal act. When you destroy art, you've destroyed something that's going to be very hard to recreate. So I had let them foolishly I was the fool, keep my track in their climate-controlled vault. And sure enough, my track, even though I had paid for it in full, was one of the ones that got destroyed. So all I had was a copy on a cassette tape. So I was able to resurrect this cassette tape with the help of my brilliant mastering engineer. And by the way, for anyone listening, if you're thinking about putting out music, master it. And I mean master it with a mastering engineer. I'm very, very picky and opinionated on that part. But with the help of Dave Kutch, my amazing mastering engineer at the Mastering Palace, he made the thing sound so kick-a, you never would have imagined that it came from a cassette tape. So I finally got to release that. And I hope that people who enjoy my work or enjoy the work that we're doing at Wake Up Music, the record label, will discover it on their own. And so far, people are discovering it. And it's kind of happy. It's almost like going back in time, because these are some of the same sounds on that release that you would not actually be able to hear nowadays, because those are considered like vintage instruments.
You know, that's insane about what happened to the music, because it's bad enough if you accidentally delete something or it gets corrupted. So if somebody practically does that deliberately to your stuff, it must be worse.
Right. No, I gotta tell you, I was crushed. I cried. I thought about taking legal action. You know, how you ever that stuff will take forever. And I'm sure they were counting on that I wouldn't, but it was completely unjust. And now, you know, myself as a poet, now I feel like I have a little bit of poetic justice. I got the track out in spite of those heinous actions. And it's also my way to honor Peter Black, who really was an amazing producer in the early house days, in the birth of house. So I feel proud of it. It's a dance tune. I got to tell you that the background singer, I never did get her name. She still is the mystery background singer, but I believe that she did such a great performance. I thought she was better than me.
Yeah, that's interesting. That'll be an interesting piece of trivia one day when somebody finally finds out who it is.
Oh gosh, I've asked people. So so far she has not come forward, but it was an absolutely great project back from the day. And if you listen to it, you'll certainly hear, I know what she's talking about. This came from that era.
Yeah, definitely. So in the meantime, the latest single that you've done with Andrew Kitchen is called My Heart Plays For You. And I'm guessing it's just in all the usual streaming places, etc.
Oh, 100%. He made a beautiful video in Bulgaria, actually. So it's not what us Americans are used to seeing in terms of the beautiful scenery, although United States has a lot of beautiful places, but you can tell it wasn't shot in the U.S. Someone asked, where was this shot? And at first I thought thought it was Canada, but it was actually Bulgaria.
Wow.
And so you can find it on YouTube, and you can certainly find it wherever you like to stream, be it Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, all of them.
Great. Well, thank you so much for dropping by to our little show this afternoon, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Oh, no, I thank you. Thanks for catching me when I'm awake. And I send you all a lot of love. And thank you for shining some light on what we do.